Good morning, everyone. This is the day that the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. We hope you're having a great day today. We thank God for his grace and mercy towards us. Today, I want to talk to you about something that we just started a series on in the Warner Robins location of our church. Our last series, we talked about my attention, talking about bringing our focus back on God and making sure that the enemy doesn't take away our focus. But now we just started a series entitled My Mouth, right? My mouth. The mouth is one of the hardest things that many of us have had a hard time trying to tame. The mouth, a lot of times, we let it loose. We just let it say whatever it wants to say. So in this series, we're endeavoring to search the scriptures and find out what the Bible says about our mouth. I know many of us think that we can just say whatever we want to say. And some of us also believe that as long as something is true and something as long as it's factual, we believe that we can just speak it and just blurt it out and just say whatever we want to say when we want to say it. But I want to show in this series that we all need to practice just a little bit more discipline on our mouth. So today I want to ask you the question concerning this series. Are your words hurting people, or are your words helping people? Let me ask you the question again, because it's something that we all have to consider, right? Are your words hurting people, or are your words helping people? Okay, so let me show you where I get that from. Ephesians chapter 4, this is where the question comes from. Ephesians chapter 4, verse number 29. And if you're with us on Sunday mornings, you'll see that we're going to actually get to the scripture hopefully this Sunday. But Ephesians 4 and 29, it says, don't use foul or abusive language. Now, that's the part of the verse that we all are familiar with. We all know that we should endeavor to abstain from foul or abusive language. Foul language meaning that language that is bad or language that is poor. And abusive is language that is offensive or that is hurtful or harmful to someone else. So we know this part. Don't use foul or abusive language. Now, mind you, verse 29 of the scripture is saying don't use it. He's not saying maybe think about it or maybe consider that maybe you don't want to do it or not, right? No, the Bible is very clear, right? And we all are working on this, right? The Bible's clear. Don't use foul or abusive language. Now, this goes much further than just using profanity, right? Foul or abusive language will be anything that's harmful or hurtful to yourself or to people. You know, on Sunday we outlined that we have basically three lines of communication with our mouth: our words to God, our words to other people, and our words to ourselves, you know. And in all three levels of communication, we want to make sure that we're not being abusive or foul, because some people are very abusive. They use abusive language even when it comes to talking about themselves. You ever heard people speak down on themselves or speak negative about themselves, right? That is abusive language towards yourself. All right, but anyway, verse 29, don't use foul or abusive language. Watch this. Let everything you say be good and helpful. Now, notice what the scripture is saying here, and I'm reading on Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, the New Living Translation. Let everything you say. I don't know about you all. I get challenged every time I read that verse, and I read that word where it says, let everything you say either be good and helpful. How many of us find yourself guilty right now? How many watching this podcast right now can say that everything you say is good and helpful? Now, I think there are exceptions to this. Now, this is my own thoughts, right? But I'm gonna just tell you my thought on. I feel like if you are in an instructive type situation where you have to make comparative examples, that's the time where we may speak ill about something or maybe about someone. I think maybe if you're in a leadership capacity, sometimes you may have to. I think sometimes even when you're in a counseling session with someone and you have to hear their grievance on a thing, I think there are times where you may indulge in a conversation that may not be as good about something or someone. I think there are times where this speech could be applicable. But what I see here though is that we need to be careful that in our normal everyday communication, using our mouth, talking to God, talking to people, talking to ourselves, let everything we say let it be good and helpful, which means when someone else hears it, they must interpret it as good and as helpful for them. Now, I know if you're teaching someone, if you're instructing someone, sometimes you use different forms of communication. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in your normal, everyday communication. Let everything you say be good and helpful. Watch this. So that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Now catch these words in this verse here. He says our words that come out of our mouth should be good, they should be helpful, and they should be encouraging. Okay, now say this with me. My words should be good, my words should be helpful, and my words should be encouraging. So here's the question for you today. Based on this scripture we just read, the words that you primarily say to people, are they good? Are they helpful? And are they encouraging? Now, I don't know about you. As I read this scripture, I see that I have a lot of work to do, right? None of us are perfect. And that's the reason we're looking at this verse today, because all of us should be challenged by what God is saying. But this area is big because you don't want your communication to be hurtful to other people, right? You don't want your life to be hurtful to other people. You want your life, your existence, what you're doing here to be helpful to other people. So here's the question again. Are your words good? Are your words helpful? And do your words bring encouragement? Okay? Well, go out today and conquer your day. Don't let your day conquer you. We love you so much.